The time by Carrie Chris is 6 p.m. Time for CBX Business News. The Business News Headlines is brought to you by CBX Wealth Management, making more possible.
A major market deal, migration talks in focus, and new momentum in U.S. nuclear energy. Good evening and welcome to CBX Business News for Wednesday, January 7, 2026. I'm Rachelle Moncrief. Thanks for joining us. Coming up, Barita Investments receives regulatory approval to acquire JN Fund Managers. Also ahead, Dominica and Antigua address the U.S. migration talks as CBI stays in focus. And later, U.S. nuclear sector sees renewed investment momentum. Policy updates boost market confidence. Stay with us as we unpack these stories and more right after the break.
Wealth is not simply counted in dollars or cents, but in the time we spend with love, in love, giving love. Wealth is not simply a means to an end. It is the means to live out loud. Wealth is more than money. It's about family, the memories you create, the legacy you leave behind, and your ability to enjoy life in the moment. It's also about seeing the QMAX possibilities and seizing investment opportunities to achieve the future you want and deserve. Which is why QMAX Wealth will focus on your investments so you can experience more. Because true wealth is truly more. To start investing today, call 876-926-7767.
Kingston, Jamaica is a place to be in January 2026 for the 21st staging of the Regional Investment and Capital Market Conference that will be hosted by the Jamaica Stock Exchange at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. We invite you to join us as we bring together government leaders, issuers, investors, and potential investors for 3 days of insightful presentations and discussions. Register now. Seats are limited. Call 876-967-3271 or visit jamstockx.com.
The local news is brought to you by Darriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with a major consolidation move in Jamaica's financial sector. Barita Investments Limited has received regulatory non-objection to acquire 100% of JN Fund Managers Limited, clearing the way for one of the most significant consolidation moves in the investment management space. CBX's Rondine Williams has the details.
Regulators have given formal clearance for Barita Investments to acquire all the issued share capital of JN Fund Managers following a no objection from the Financial Services Commission, FSC. The deal is expected to increase Barita's asset under management to more than 500 billion Jamaican dollars, strengthening its institutional asset management business, particularly in pension fund management and long-term investment mandates. Barita says the acquisition will expand product breadth, increase operational scale, and boost contractual fee-based investment management revenues while remaining value accretive to the company. Importantly, the transaction will be funded from existing resources, meaning Barita's capital position remains unchanged. As at September 2025, Barita was the largest securities dealer in Jamaica by shareholders' equity, with 35.3 billion Jamaican dollars, accounting for roughly 1/4 of total capital in the sector. The company also highlighted that its leverage remains below the industry average, supported by strong investment-grade credit ratings from CARCRIS, underscoring balance sheet strength and disciplined risk management. Barita says the integration of JN Fund managers will be carried out in a structured and orderly manner, with continuity of services for clients as the company continues to pursue scale, resilience, and long-term growth. Rondine Williams for CBX News.
That was Rondine Williams with that report. Jamaica's latest growth numbers are stirring debate, not over whether the economy is expanding, but over what that expansion really means. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the story is not just growth, it's resilience. Here's what he had to say.
The last quarter results from the PIOJ shows that Jamaica grew by over 5%. There are those who will say that a 5% growth would not be considered as super phenomenal when compared to the heavy loss in output that took place as a result of Hurricane Beryl. In other words, a high level of growth would just be normal. And again, I reflected on that point because when Jamaica was hit by crises in the past, whether environmental or economic, our growth would not have been within quarters. Our growth would have been within decades. In 2009, when we were hit by the financial crisis, it took us 10 years to return to the level of GDP that we lost.
He notes that recent shocks have been followed by a return to growth within the same year.
When we are hit by super phenomenal events, whether it be a once in a 100-year event like the pandemic or a once in a 50-year event like Hurricane Melissa, you will see that the ability of the economy to head back to growth within the year of the impact is phenomenal. That was never the case before in the Jamaican economy.
Holness also describes this shift as evidence of a deeper transformation in the economy, one built on resilience.
The Jamaican economy is showing very strong signs of resilience. The ability to be hit by a disaster or a crisis, to absorb and recover, but more than that, at each time, the recovery is stronger and it prepares you to receive other hits, other exogenous shocks. And that is, my friends, a very good feature, a strong feature for any economy to have.
Speaking there, Jamaica's Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. And it's a season of optimism for Jamaica's tourism sector with the launch of Flair Airlines' new non-stop service between Toronto Pearson International Airport and Montego Bay's Sangster International Airport. The twice-weekly direct flights are expected to significantly expand airlift from Canada, one of Jamaica's most important source markets, and strengthen visitor arrivals during peak winter travel season. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the new route not only improves convenience for Canadian travelers by eliminating layovers, but also reflects renewed airline confidence in Jamaica's tourism recovery following Hurricane Melissa. This new service strengthens our airlift and provides more options for Canadian visitors, Bartlett says, noting that increased connectivity supports the industry's broader goals of diversification and long-term growth. Officials from the Jamaica Tourist Board echoed that sentiment, highlighting the collaboration with airline partners to enhance accessibility and attract more visitors year-round. We move to the latest updates from the JSE equities. In Wednesday's trading session, the JSE market activity resulted in the trading of 117 stocks, of which 51 advanced, 48 declined, and 18 traded firm. Leading the winners are West Indies Petroleum Terminal, Jetcon Corporation, Productive Business Solution USD Ordinary Shares, and MPC Caribbean Clean Energy USD. While leading the losers are G West Corporation ordinary shares, Salada Foods Jamaica, 138 Student Living Jamaica variable preference, and Cygnus Real Estate Financial JMD. The main index advanced by 3,065.20 points to close at 323,948.39 points. The junior market index also advanced, but by 16.64 points to close at 3,409.53 points.
And it's time for Market Education Feature, brought to you by CariCris. Regional ratings, global standard.
In today's market education feature, we will be talking about free enterprise. Free enterprise refers to an economic system where market forces rather than government direction set prices and
Introducing the Corporate Services Unit, your go-to experts for corporate secretarial solutions. We offer statutory compliance, efficient minute taking, registered office address services, management of board and members meetings, setup and maintenance of corporate registers. Stay ahead with our proactive approach to new regulations. We operate under the Trust and Corporate Service Provider, licensed to the JCSB Trustee Services Limited. We're here to simplify your corporate journey, no matter the size of your company. Contact the Corporate Service Unit today and let's streamline your compliance journey together, because your success is our business. Introducing the Corporate Services Unit, your go-to experts for corporate secretarial solutions. We offer statutory compliance, efficient minute taking, registered office address services, management of board and members meetings, setup and maintenance of corporate registers. Stay ahead with our proactive approach to new regulations. We operate under the Trust and Corporate Service Provider, licensed to the JCSD Trustee Services Limited. We're here to simplify your corporate journey, no matter the size of your company. Contact the Corporate Service Unit today and let's streamline your compliance journey together, because your success is our business. Introducing the Corporate Services Unit, your go-to experts for corporate secretarial solutions. We offer statutory compliance, efficient minute taking, registered office address services, management of board and members meetings, setup and maintenance of corporate registers. Stay ahead with our proactive approach to new regulations. We operate under the Trust and Corporate Service Provider, licensed to the JCSD Trustee Services Limited. We're here to simplify your corporate journey, no matter the size of your company. Contact the Corporate Service Unit today and let's streamline your compliance journey together, because your success is our business. Introducing the Corporate Services Unit, your go-to experts for corporate secretarial solutions. We offer statutory compliance, efficient minute Services Limited. We're here to simplify your corporate journey, no matter the size of your company. Contact the Corporate Service Unit today and let's streamline your compliance journey together, because your success is our business. Introducing the Corporate Services Unit, your go-to experts for corporate secretarial solutions. We offer statutory compliance, efficient minute taking, registered office address services, management of board and members meetings, setup and maintenance.
Build with solid PVC pipes and conduits, manufactured in Jamaica by Phosphate, made to the highest standard. Solid PVC pipes and conduits are made in Jamaica by Jamaicans for Jamaicans. Available at hardware stores across the island. Take some solid advice, support our economy and build well. Buy solid PVC pipes. Next time, ask for solid brand PVC pipes and conduits. Call our distributors or Phosphate at 876-937-5090.
Welcome back. And now for the regional business news. Effective January 6, 2026, the U.S. Department of State is requiring some Caribbean visa applicants to post a refundable bond of up to U.S. $15,000 to enter the country. The bond applies to select applicants for U.S. business and tourist visas and represents a significant new upfront cost for travel from the region. This measure forms part of a State Department pilot program now covering 38 countries, including several in the Caribbean. U.S. President Donald Trump defended the move earlier this week.
The greatest job ever on borders, and you know, I think they forgot it. My guy said to me today, I have a great guy, Ross, he's the greatest speechwriter. He said, sir, let's not mention the border. Nobody cares about the border anymore. Can you believe it? This was the biggest, this was the biggest thing there was. It says to me, nobody cares about the border because it has a shelf life. I fixed the border. I fixed it in my first term, but now I really had to fix it. It was much worse, you know, when I came into office. Millions and millions of people were pouring into our country, and I fixed it.
That was U.S. President Donald Trump. Meanwhile, several Caribbean countries are positioning themselves as regional partners in U.S. migration policy as discussions expand around the acceptance of vetted third country nationals and asylum seekers. CBX's Janelle Dillon has more in this report.
As the United States, U.S., seeks greater regional cooperation on migration, several Caribbean states are clarifying how those discussions intersect with diplomacy, economic positioning, and national security. Officials across the region say any engagement is limited, discretionary, and guided by domestic law. In Antigua and Barbuda, the government has moved to clarify its position, stating that there is no binding agreement with the U.S. to accept refugees. They say any consideration of vetted third country nationals, capped at no more than 10 per year, would be handled at the government's discretion. This means that sovereignty and border control remain intact and that the country's Citizenship by Investment (CBI) program is not affected. On the other hand, Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has confirmed ongoing engagement with the U.S. government on documentation and legal processes linked to Dominica's CBI framework.
As you know, there's an agreement among the 5 countries which operate a CBI program within the OECS. And we entered into an agreement to do a number of things jointly.
Skerrit also acknowledged additional arrangements involving the possible transfer of vetted third country nationals to the country.
The United States and the Commonwealth of Dominica has entered into an agreement to facilitate third country refugees to be sent to Dominica to mitigate scenarios where the United States cannot return these individuals to the state of birth or origin. In our discussions with the State Department, there have been careful deliberations of the need to avoid receiving violent individuals or individuals who will compromise the security of Dominica.
Override national sovereignty and that economic reputation and investor confidence remain key considerations. For CBX News, I'm Janelle Dillon.
That was Janelle Dillon with that report. In other news, Antigua and Barbuda has received over $1 million in building materials, giving a major lift to the government's Home Advancement Happy program for the indigent. Prime Minister Gaston Brown says the investment is expected to support activity in the local building sector while accelerating home construction for vulnerable households.
I believe it is the single largest amount of building material to be imported in the country at any given point. And again, this is just a start. As I said, there will be several additional purchases made during this year, and it will continue on an annual basis until we see a significant improvement in the housing stock, not only in terms of new homes.
That was Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown. It's now time for news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Overall market activity resulted from the trading in 21 securities, of which 7 advanced, 9 declined, and 5 traded firm. Today's winners are Trinidad Cement, National Flour Mills, Guardian Holdings, and Scotiabank Trinidad and Tobago, while leading the losers are A.S. Bryden & Sons Holdings, Guardian Media, Eric Solis Marketing, and JMMB Group. Trading activity resulted in the following movements. The All-TNT Index declined by 2.34 points to close at 1,371.16. The Composite Index declined by 0.97 points to close at 948.04. The Cross-Listed Index advanced by 0.07 points to close at 69.30. The SME Index declined by 0.07 points to close at 93.99. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment is up next.
My Mikey, is what sweet you saw?
Yeah, dear babes. Where's the Cathy? We are going party tonight.
Party? You secure your future yet? Careless.
Did you know that over time, the stock market has provided a reliably high return on investments? Be sure to contact a licensed stockbroker for more information on this exciting investment opportunity.
Taking care of business, Mikey?
Yeah, Cathy. I'm securing my future. Want to come look over my stock portfolio?
The Jamaica Stock Exchange, providing a fair, efficient, and transparent stock market.
Welcome back. In international news, the U.S. nuclear energy industry is experiencing a dramatic turnaround, driven by regulatory reforms and renewed investor interest that are positioning nuclear power as a key component of America's future energy mix. At a congressional hearing earlier today, Chairman of the Subcommittee on Energy, Bob Latta, highlighted a shift from widespread reactor closures to a burgeoning wave of restarts and new builds. A development with potentially significant implications for investors, utilities, and supply chains.
Consider that only 5 or 6 years ago, we were confronting a wave of nuclear retirements. Today, closed nuclear reactors are being restarted, and utilities are seeking to produce more power at existing sites.
A landmark decision by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission this week was cited as a key catalyst for market optimism.
This Monday, NRC for the first time approved replacement of analog safety equipment with digital controls, which paves the way for modernizing safety controls across the fleet. This action, finally taken after years of regulatory churn, creates a template for other plans to seek NRC approval of digitization.
That was U.S. Chairman of the Subcommittee on Energy, Bob Latta. And staying with energy, but shifting now from nuclear power to oil markets. The United States has begun actively marketing Venezuelan crude oil, with proceeds from the initial sales set to settle in U.S.-controlled accounts at globally recognized banks. In a statement released Wednesday, the U.S. Department of Energy said it has engaged leading commodity marketers and major financial institutions to execute the sales and provide financial support for the transactions. The structure places Washington directly in control of cash flows from Venezuelan oil, effectively preventing direct access by the Venezuelan state while allowing sanctioned barrels to re-enter global markets under strict financial oversight. And as shifting energy supply reshapes markets, investors are also recalibrating across commodities. Gold prices pulled back Wednesday as investors locked in profits after recent gains and shifted focus from geopolitical risks to incoming U.S. economic data. The metal slipped to around $4,440 per ounce, with easing tensions weighing on safe haven demand after President Donald Trump said Venezuela would supply up to 50 million barrels of oil to the United States. On the data front, the ADP report showed U.S. private sector job growth came in below expectations, while job openings fell to a one-year low, offset by stronger than expected growth in the services sector. Markets are now looking ahead to Friday's non-farm payrolls report for clearer signals on the Federal Reserve's interest rate path, with traders currently pricing in 2 rate cuts later this year. Meanwhile, in corporate America, a high-stakes takeover battle is testing how investors weigh price versus certainty. Warner Brothers Discovery has again rejected a hostile takeover bid from Paramount Global, urging shareholders to support a rival $72 billion offer from Netflix. Warner's board says Paramount's $77.9 billion bid for the entire company relies heavily on debt financing and carries execution risk, describing it as effectively a leveraged buyout. In contrast, the company says the Netflix deal, which would acquire Warner's studio and streaming businesses, including HBO Max, offers greater certainty and shareholder protections. Paramount recently sought to strengthen its offer by securing a multi-billion-dollar personal guarantee tied to its financing and by matching Netflix's breakup fee if regulators block the deal. And that's it for the international segment of the newscast. The news recap is coming up on the other side of the break.
Kingston, Jamaica is a place to be in January 2026 for the 21st staging of the Regional Investment and Capital Market Conference that will be hosted by the Jamaica Stock Exchange at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. We invite you to join us as we bring together government leaders, issuers, investors, and potential investors for 3 days of insightful presentations and discussions. Register now. Seats are limited. Call 876-967-3271 or visit jamstockx.com.
And now to recap our top stories. In the local news, Barita receives regulatory approval to acquire JN Fund managers. Regionally, Dominica and Antigua address U.S. migration talks as CBI stays in focus. And internationally, U.S. nuclear sector sees renewed investment momentum. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Rachelle Moncrief. Thanks for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.